Okay, so let's talk about how to price your comics for when you're going to your first Comic Con. Okay, now I'm going to show you how I do it. You do not need to do this like this, because everybody's different. You may have to recoup your costs for, like art, letters, colors, that kind of thing. So you'd work out how best you are, but I'm going to show you how I do it, and I'm going to show you why I'm so successful at Comic Cons when it comes to actually selling my books. Now, at shows, I tend to sell on average around 250 comics, which is really, really good. But a lot of that comes down to salesmanship and other things that I've done and covered in videos before. But the majority of it, I'll be brutally honest, comes down to how I price my book. So what I'm going to quickly do is going to quickly break down the cost and how to work out your profit again if you've never seen the channel before. Now, the average cost to print a comic, whether you're doing, 100 or, 200 or 500, usually tends to cost around £1.40 per comic that you actually print. Now, that's a cost to you, the creator, before you've even gone to the Comic Con floor. Okay, so that's your cost. That's what you need to bear in mind. So that £1.40 is your cost per comic that you print. Now, at Comic Cons, I tend to sell my comics for £3 each, okay? And there is a very specific reason why I've chosen that figure, which I'm going to go through in a minute. But that £3 is my revenue, okay? So that is how much I'm selling the books for. My cost is £1.40. So to work out my profit per comic that I actually sell, what we need to do, very simply, is remove that cost from that revenue figure. Okay, so that means for every single comic that I sell on that Comic Con floor, I am making £1.60 profit. Okay. Now, this is where it gets really, really exciting because, as I said before, an average, 3-day Comic Con, I tend to sell around 250 books at £1.60 profit per book that I'm selling. That means I'm leaving that Comic Con with £400 profit in my pocket. And for a creator, that's absolutely fantastic because for me, it covers my table costs, it covers my travel, and it covers my parking. And I've sold 250 books, so I am a happy bunny. But you may be watching this and thinking, well, why don't you just increase that price point from £3 £4 and you'll make a lot more money. Now, in theory, that is fantastic, but there is no guarantee if I were to increase my costs to my customers from £3 to £4, that I would be able to sell that many books. Okay, yes, I am a good salesperson. My books are as good as anyone else's on the Comic Con floor, but I doubt that I would sell as many because there is a very specific reason why I have chosen that £3 price point. Now, as a trader, personally, it's great because it means people can come to my table and they are always pleasantly surprised at how much my comics cost. And because they are only £3 each, people buy more than one. On average, most people buy at least three. And the reason why they do that, and the reason why I charge £3 per book, is because a customer can come to my table, they can walk away with three books, and they can still get £1 change from a £10 note. Okay, so for me, that's great because I've upsold to three comics rather than just the one book. And as a trader, with regards to my float and the cash that I need to take with me, all I need is pound coins. So I don't have to mess around with tens and twenties and that kind of thing. So that's why £3 works for me. But there is another reason why I've chosen that £3 price point as well. And that point is I know if a Comic Con like an MCM has done their job right, which they always do, if they're getting, 100 to 120,000 people through the door every single day of that show, I can comfortably sell 250 comics at £3 each. Okay. Now, yes, I could increase my charge to £4, and I would only have to sell 154 comics to make the same amount of profit. And probably at £4, would I be able to sell more than 154? Maybe. But I know my sweet spot is £3 and 250. Okay, so I'm more focused, and this is going to sound bonkers, on the amount that I'm selling rather than the profit that I'm making. Now, again, don't get me wrong, and you can do this and price your books up however you want. That £400 profit is great, and obviously profit pays for the art and stuff like that. But at this point in my career, I'm more focused on growing my readership because that 250 that I'm selling, it grows. It grows in every single show that I did. I started off selling like 125, and then it's grown. My last show I did 350 odds. So that's showing you what, how big it can get. But I wanted to use that 250 as an average because people come back, especially if you do regular shows. And because people have got value, they've bought more than one book at my table because, they were £3 each. They always come back. And they'll say, Matt, I bought issue 1 this time. Can I buy issues 2, 3, and 4? Or they'll go, I read them. Do you have the next issue of that comic? And if I say no, I say, but I've got 2 other books brand new out. And because they trust me, because I've given them value, they buy more. So that's how I've organically grown my readership at the Comic Cons that I do. And again, this is how I do it. This isn't necessarily how you need to do it, but I wanted to show you how I work out how many books I'm going to sell and at what price band, because I'm happy with how I'm doing it. You know, £3, 250. That's my sweet spot. That's my equilibrium. Now, as a creator, what you need to do is you need to work out what your costs are, what your profit margins are, and how many comics that you think you can sell to make it worth your while. Are you going to focus on profit, or are you going to focus on growing your readership? Because another example is, you know, if you did sell exactly 125 comics, which is half the amount I sell, at £4 each, you would actually be making less profit than me. So in theory, you know, if you did drop your price down to £3, you may sell more. So that's what I wanted to do this video, just to open your mind a little bit to, you know, how much you're charging for your comics, to how many comics you can sell, because you may sell your comics at £3.50. Is that hurting the amount of comics that you are selling? I don't know. That's what you need to work out. So I've shown you how it works for me. So go away and work out how it works best for you. Okay, so I hope that that's helped and give you some ideas. I will see you in the next video. So thank you for watching. Bye.